Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stogie Review video review. I am Walt White, filling in for Flying Brian Hewitt, who is actually down in Nicaragua right now with Jerry Cruz on the Drew Estate Cigar Safari blogger trip. Really appreciated Drew Estate's putting an invite out there for me. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it this go around. You know, hopefully I can make it some other time if they decide to do another trip next year. But I'm here with another First Impressions review, something short and sweet. Again, trying to baby step my way back into doing regular cigar reviews. And this time I'll be doing another cigar out of the Studio Tobacco World Tour sampler, and that is the Nub USA. I kind of forgot what it was for a second. This is in a 460 format, and I really know nothing about the cigar. I don't know what the makeup is. I don't know what the theoretical price point would be. All I know is that this was included in that 5 or 6 cigar sampler that the Studio Tobacco Advisory Board received, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. And of all of the cigars listed, or of all of the cigars in that sampler, this was one of the ones that I was most excited about smoking. You know, it's kind of funny. When it comes to Nub cigars, I really run hot or cold. Sometimes I really like the format, and other times I'm just so sick and tired of it that I can't stand even looking at them. But the fact remains is, even though that sometimes I am sick and tired of them, I tend to smoke a fair amount of them. I just recently polished off a box of the Nub Connecticut 358 just the other week, and I was smoking them in the morning with a cup of coffee, and they went great. They were roughly, I don't know, an hour and a half long cigar, so they worked in really well on those days that I work from home, and I have, you know, about an hour and a half before my wife gets up and needs to get ready to go to work, and, you know, my daughter wakes up, so I get that little bit of a lull in the morning, and those 358s did a really good job of filling it for me. And as a result, I was pretty interested in trying the new Nub USA. So let's light it up and give it a try. I guess before I light it, I should talk a little bit about the appearance. It looks fantastic. It's got a nice chocolatey dark brown wrapper. You know, as cliche as the USA and red, white, and blue color scheme is, it actually looks really good on the Nub band. I quite like it. The secondary Studio Tobacco band, it's just a secondary band, really no positive or negative to it. It really doesn't throw off the look of the cigar or anything. The cap appears to be neatly applied. It looks to be evenly packed with tobacco. Again, these are short and stout cigars, so it shouldn't be too difficult to keep them evenly packed, or consistently filled, I should say. The pre-light draw is right where it should be. It's got a little bit of a sweetness on the pre-light draw, or on the cold draw. Kind of makes me think of sort of like candy. So a candy flavored cigar to start. We're off to an interesting start. And as I mentioned, this is the 460 format, which is what I consider to be sort of the baseline for the Nub cigar lineup. There are other sizes available, but you know, the 460 feels most comfortable to me. It's what I'm most used to, which is why I consider it sort of the base format for the line. My first puff was nice and bold. It's got some spice, some pepper. I'm not quite sure what I taste across the palate. It's sort of salty, sort of dry. It's got sort of like a meaty, lingering taste. Second puff had a lot more spice about it, and it's off to a good start. Ooh, a little punch in the throat. That spice. Smoke volume is awesome so far. It's nice and thick. It coats the palate really well. Wow, that spice is really lingering both through the sinus and in the throat. But it's off to a beautiful start. Good draw, good smoke volume, good smoke density, you know, powerful, full flavors. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. So sit tight. I'll be back in, you know, for you, just a few seconds. For me, probably closer to a half hour, 45 minutes. We'll check in with the cigar depending on how far along I am. I may wrap it up there. I may come back one more time. Just kind of wing it at this point. So sit tight and I will be right back. Well, it's been about 40 minutes now. I'm plugging right along on my Nub USA. I popped the secondary band off, and I've been enjoying this quite a bit. I'm really surprised at how much I'm liking it. You know, the entire Nub line kind of has its up and downs. There are some lines that, or there are some variations that I like a lot more than others. When I first started smoking the Nub line a couple of years ago when it came out, the Habano was my favorite, and then after a while I kind of grew tired of that, and my next favorite turned into the Cameroon. I smoked a lot of the Cameroon. I loved them. Then after a little while I kind of grew tired of those, and I've been gravitating a lot towards the Connecticut. I think they make a good morning cigar. They're a good solid afternoon cigar, and I think they pair very, very well with a cup of coffee. I was never a fan of the Nub Maduro. Actually, I disliked that cigar from the first time I had it. It was very consistent. It just wasn't really up into the flavors. The double, was it double Maduro or San Andreas Maduro that came out in last year's sampler pack really didn't do anything for me either. It reminded me a lot of the regular Nub Maduro. It just, I don't know, it had a little bit more flavor, but it was still kind of lackluster, and I never really cared for it. You know, eventually the Canes came out in the Nub format. The Cane F Nub I enjoy. I don't really like the standard Cane line, but you know, the Nub format has had some interesting twists along the way, and this new Nub USA is very nice. I really am surprised at how much I'm liking it. I was kind of setting it up to fail. You know, I really wasn't expecting much of it. You know, I found the comfort zone. I really like the Connecticut. I like the Cane F Nub. And, you know, everything in between is just kind of, you know, middle of the road now. You know, my tastes swing back and forth, and I'm just surprised that this one is as good as it is. It's smoked beautifully. I'm getting lots of smoke. It's nice and thick. It coats the palate well. It's easy to get through the sinuses because it is so dense and thick. That really bold, spicy, peppery component in the beginning that lingered on the sinus and lingered on the back of the throat has really settled down quite a bit. I don't want to say it's hardly noticeable, but it really doesn't play a big part in the whole flavor profile picture. The flavors that I'm finding most notable are this sort of, it's a heavy, sort of meaty sort of a flavor. There's also a little bit of a woody tone that lingers on the palate a little bit, and that pretty much makes up the core of the flavor profile. There's little hints of saltiness that kind of come in and out of the picture, but they're really, you know, you can't expect them. They seem to be very random how they come in and out. It's just, all in all, it's just a very impressive cigar. I'm enjoying it much more than I was expecting to. So with that said, kind of on the fence. I don't know whether I want to go away and come back one more time, or if I'm just going to wrap it up here. So, you know what, let's just kind of wrap it up here, because I really don't expect the cigar to change much from here through on out. It's getting a little bit warm. I'm going to be popping the band off really soon, and I'm just kind of glancing at the clock. I need to pick up the pace. I've got some stuff that I need to do this evening, and I don't want to be tied down to the cigar too long. So I want to wrap up the review here. I want to thank you for watching another Stogie review video review. Again, this is a First Impressions review. It's the first one I've had. I actually gave away the other Nub USA, and I'm kind of regretting it at this point. If I'd have known it was this good, I may have given away something else from the sampler instead of that Nub USA. So again, these are the Nub USA is part of the Studio Tobacco World Tour sampler. In order to get them, you have to go to a World Tour event, buy a box, and then you'll get the sampler along with that box purchase. So that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.